John Oglesby back here in Park City for the 2016 Big Sky Football Media Days. It's the Student Athlete Interview Day. We're joined by Eastern Washington receiver and the reigning Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year, National FCS Offensive Player of the Year, and two-time defending preseason Offensive Player of the Year. Of course, I'm talking about Eastern Washington wide receiver Kupp. Cooper, always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Great to be here.
You're in Park City for the second year in a row. You're the preseason Offensive Player of the Year for the second year in a row. What's it like being part of this experience?
Oh, it's a blast. I mean, I think the best part is just meeting the guys. You know, the guys that were able to compete against last year, but to be able to sit down and talk with them about their seasons and how their off seasons are going, and something that it's kind of nice. Kind of building that camaraderie with guys.
Absolutely. So there was kind of a decision, almost, if you will, for you. Were you going to stay at Eastern Washington? Were you going to pursue maybe some professional opportunities? You chose to stay at Eastern Washington, finish out your career there. What led to that decision of staying?
Yeah, there were a lot of things. It was a difficult decision. But ultimately, it came down to God's plan was for me and my wife, and after a lot of prayer, and we were able to make that decision and be confident in it. And just that whatever was going to come after college football, that it was going to be in His plan, and it was going to be perfect regardless. And it took a weight off of my shoulders. I can just be in the moment now. I can enjoy this time and enjoy this. We're 7 months in, and it's been the time of my life. Nowhere else I'd rather be. We haven't even gotten to the best part. It's coming up here. Yeah,
that's going to start in about a month and a half. When I talk to people about you, football people, everybody talks about the awards, but serious football people, when I mention Kupp, they always talk about two things: route running and physicality. When did you start taking so much pride in those two attributes?
That was something. So I was undersized for most of my life, and coming up through high school, and even my senior year, and even as a freshman, sophomore years in college, where I felt like speed-wise I hadn't just fully developed yet. I hadn't gotten to the point where I wanted to, and I'm still working obviously in that. Yeah. But what it forced me to do is it forced me to work on technique. Had to be perfect. You had perfect technique, or you weren't going to be open, because I couldn't just speedily just separate from people. Yeah. I had to make sure that I was had good body control and able to understand how to create separation. And so it was a blessing in that I got to learn that side first, and then then my body and developing came after that. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise. And it was a tough few years, when you're going through high school at 145 pounds and you're playing against some guys that can just kind of smack you around a little bit. But then in terms of the physicality side of things, I mean, I take the attitude. I want to go 100%. I want to go max exertion every single play. And when I walk off the field, I find success for me is walking off the field knowing I've given my all, and you can't control anything outside of that. So I make sure snap in, snap out, I'm the best me I can be.
By Eastern Washington wide receiver Kupp. Eastern Washington last year, Cooper motored along for the first half of the season, appeared primed for another run in the postseason, but the last games of the season there was kind of a drop-off. What led to some of those inconsistencies late in the year?
Yeah, it was one of those things that you hear people say a win's a win, and if you go back and look at our we had, I think, had a 6-win win streak. There were games that were very close. We played against some good teams, but there were some games that were very close games, and it was one of those things where we didn't want to just say a win's a win. We were we're trying to figure out something's going on here. We got to figure this thing out, and we just weren't able to figure out in time, and ended up going up against NAU and Montana, who were very, very skilled teams, and teams that would make you pay if you weren't on your game, and they took advantage of some mistakes that we were making, and and obviously after that Montana game, it was, to be straight up and honest, it was embarrassing. Like, you never want to have to go through that, and we had some stuff we had to meet as a team after that and say, we're not, just because you've won a Big Sky championship doesn't mean you're entitled to another one. You have to go out and earn those things. And so try to get things going and check some things going to Portland State, and just fell just short against a very good Portland State team. And then going to the soft season, we had to hit a reset button. There had to be some adjustments made.
Well, hopefully we'll see some better things out of the Eagles this season for sure. Last question, then we'll let you go. Again, you won virtually every national award for the FCS for offensive players there was. How do you top that performance in 2016? Does it come from team success? Is it more individual success? How do you top what you've already done?
Well, receivers, statistical stats as for a receiver are they'll lie to you. That stuff. That stuff it doesn't mean a whole lot for receivers, but what is important to me is that, like I said before, is I'm giving my best day in and day out.
Yeah.
And anyone, as long as everyone on Eastern Washington football team walks off the field their last time playing and is able to look back and say, I gave everything I had this season. I gave my very best. Everything else that comes with that, whether it's statistics, the team, all that stuff is going to come with it. And outside of being our very best, that's all we can control. And obviously, we're striving for that national championship, and everything we do is striving to be to get to that point. And but for me, it's not about topping. I'm not gonna not gonna try to top anything. I mean, I'm gonna be the best me I can be, and wherever that leads to is where we'll be.
Well, Cooper, it's always a pleasure to sit down with you. Thanks for joining us. Eastern Washington wide receiver Cooper Kupp, everybody.